asked Randy Ellis to put a specific order on this weather for y'all, so you're welcome. I got to say, these bridges, when you walk up and they've been completed, because I was able to see them. If you don't know who I am, I'm Joe Malillo, and I'm from Wish TV, and I'm one of the Daybreak reporters. But today I'm your host, and I'm very happy to be here. I have a real personal connection. My fiance works for the Hamilton County Parks Department, so I was able to see these bridges being put in, construction and all. The biggest cranes in Indiana were here putting these guys in, and I was able to do a real interesting piece about Indiana's history about the bicentennial, because our station does specific stories about the bicentennial, and my piece was about these bridges. And you try putting a historic bridge piece together or story together in a minute and a half about these things. It was as big a task as trying to put them in. But I learned a lot, and what I learned is that the history of not only the bridges but the roads that run through Indiana and the infrastructure that we have here in the state is an amazing lesson to all of us of what hard work used to look like and what it is today, how far we've come with technology, and the fact that we're sitting here not only on one of the oldest bridges, but that bridge as well is one of the oldest bridges in Indiana. So it really kind of puts it into perspective, the handiwork that the men and women put into this when they built it a long time ago. So it's just a little bit of a history there, and I'm sure you guys are well aware why we're here and why we're celebrating, because it's an amazing feat, and I think we all just the fact that we're here sitting on the bridge or standing on the bridge is an amazing feat. So I say we give a round of applause just for that. I want to also take time to thank Big Dogs Barbecue for being here as well, and bargain pricing. You know, it's a great way to celebrate. Why not do it with some barbecue? Also, let's introduce the Noblesville High School Brass Quintet to play the Back Home Indiana, and let's take a listen to this. Very well done, boys. I wish I could sing that, but we're not at the Indy 500. Also want to now introduce the director of the Hamilton County Parks Department, Al Patterson. Al will introduce the dignitaries and partners from here. Thank you, Al.
I'm going to borrow that. I'm not exactly.
Yeah, sure.
A lot of my stuff.
Didn't hear that.
A lot of my stuff just blew into the river. So gonna hide this. All right. This has been a long time coming. Thank you, Joe, and thank you. I think the band may have to take off at some point soon because they got to get back for dismissal at some point, so they may take off and kind of walk in between us or go around. You're going to wait? All right. All right. You know, it's such an amazing celebration, and seeing all these folks out here, all of you here to help celebrate this amazing accomplishment. And it truly is a project that just had so many pieces and parts to it that it's been going on for a long time. I was talking to some folks that I have a picture of me standing out on this bridge in Washington County. Jim Barker identified this. This whole project began in 2002. When we had a master plan meeting at the old Walnut Grove School. And one of the things that came out of that meeting was, boy, wouldn't it be cool to have a bridge that crossed the river and connected White River Campground to Strawtown Koteewi Park. And we thought, yeah, boy, that'd be great. What are the chances of being able to get that done? But we put it on that master plan, and that's what that is. That's a document to help us dream. And so we put it on in 2002, and we had just come off of restoring Potter's Bridge with Jim Barker, and at the time he was with Barker Engineering and now VS, and Jim came to me and said, I found a bridge, and it's really cool. And so took me out to this bridge, and so there's a picture of me in 2003 standing on this bridge with Jim. That's how old this project is. And those of you involved in NDOT, all those consultants that are out there, this project actually has an 05 DES number. So that's telling you something. But it truly does take a lot of people to make this happen. And having all of you here really does mean a lot to all of us, with the department, the board, the foundation, the county. So I'm just going to go through and read. This is going to take a little while. Recognize our partner. I hope that this sound keeps on. I project, but I'm not sure I can project this much. We are honored to have representing U.S. Senator Joe Donnelly's office, Mary Ann Black. Mary Ann, can you raise your hand, please? Thank you very much for coming. This project and its funding, it really is quite a story. So we have the county put about $160,000 into design and engineering over the time into getting this project done and acquiring these bridges. And then we went to work with NDOT and Federal Highway, and we acquired $2.7 million of funding from NDOT to get this done. And then our match of another $600,000 of county money from our elected officials and your money that helped make this happen. And so it really means a lot to have Senator Donnelly's office here representing us and acknowledging how special this is. We did talk and reached out to Congresswoman Brooks's office at the bicentennial celebration in Hamilton County. She was going to send a representative, but she was going to be out of town. I think that the timing with the election may have had something to do with that. But we also have with us Indiana State Representative Kathy Craig Williams. Kathy. You can't ask for better representation in downtown Indianapolis than Kathy. That's for sure. Indiana State Senator Luke Kinley sends his regrets. Business has taken him out of town today, but he would have loved to have been here. He's been a big supporter of this project as well. From the county, we have Hamilton County Commissioners Christine Altman and Mark Hairbrandt. Commissioner Dillinger has always been a big supporter of this project, this campground, everything that we've been doing, and he was out of town and sends his regrets as well, but he really wanted to be here. From our Hamilton County Council, Brad Beaver, Steve Schwartz, and Jim Dillon. Did anybody else sneak in? I don't think so. And also, I'm going to recognize our county auditor. As I said, we've spent a lot of money on this project, and these three ladies, I think they hate me, because nothing's ever the easy way with me. I'm always calling down, hey, can we do this? So Don Coverdale, our current Hamilton County auditor, Robin Mills, our newly elected auditor-elect, and Kim Roush from the Hamilton County Auditor's Office are here with us. Thank you so much for being here, you guys. I believe that. Hamilton County Park Board, this is really awesome. I would like to, this really shows how big of a project this is and how important it is to this group of people. There's a lot of busy people on this board, and we have all 7 members of the park board here and many of their significant others, with one exception, but Jan DeJarnette sent her husband Doug, so he is representing. She was not able to be here. She's been awful busy. But our president, Terry Prather, and his wife Donna. You'll see Terry again in a little bit. Our vice president, Larry Radebush, and his wife Linda. Our treasurer, Phil Shelby, and his wife, Chris. Susan Peterson and her husband, John. Judy Campbell and her husband, Peter. As I said, Jean was not able to make it, but she did send representation, so Doug DeJarnette is here. I think Jan's coming tonight, right? Yeah, Jan will be here tonight to party down with my yellow rickshaw, so maybe we can even get her to play the accordion while she's here. And last but certainly not least, Mark McCauley was caught up in work. He also works for the county in the Soil and Water Office, and he was able to get away and get here. Thank you, Mark. Some of those folks, and me included, are on the board of the Friends of Hamilton County Parks, our park foundation. But 4 people who are not, who you have not already heard the names of, are also here. Tom Clover, right there. Lindsay Mazika. Bruce Snyder and his wife Gina. And Jill Mead is here as well. Thank you guys. They do really a tireless job of working and advocating for the park department and helping us raise money. At this point, I'm also going to recognize one other individual that came in and rode up in the golf cart with me. I was telling Steve Sneath, as he was driving us up, I said, you know, you've got 50 years of Hamilton County Park royalty in this golf cart, you know. And Terry Busby, the first director of Hamilton County Park Department, and Noblesville City Councilman is back there in the back. Terry and I are the only 2 directors of the Hamilton County Park Department. So thank you very much for being here, Terry. I mentioned to Terry that we're going to be celebrating our 50th anniversary next year, and he went, holy cow, has it been that long? And it has. So our partners that made this all possible, I'm going to introduce Jim Barker separately in a little bit, but VS Engineering that helped engineer this project and was also part of the construction inspection team. Their president, Sanjay Patel, is here. And we're going to give these guys an opportunity to say a few words here in just a little bit. Chief Operations Officer Drew Bender. As I said, Jim Barker, his wife Mary Jo. we were sharing, I don't think I've seen Mary Jo since the grand opening of the Potter's Bridge. So it's a reunion going on here. Kenny Burke. Daniel Kurdziel. Is he here? Couldn't make it. And Donna Purdue. Don took the brunt of a lot of phone calls as we were going through the engineering process on this thing and final checks and all those kind of things, and does an amazing job. And so thanks, Don. USI, our partners from USI, USI Construction or Consulting do a great job, and they've been part of our construction inspection team as well, and really helped me a lot. I had a very serious meeting with them after this project. Went through the first 2 bidding processes and was still over budget. And another gentleman that I'm going to be introducing here in a little bit was part of those conversations as well, Jim Ryleman with NDOT. But I went over to USI and I said, okay, what do we have to do? We got to get this thing done. It's not an option not to get it done. So help me. How do we get it done? And this is an amazing team from USI that helped me get it done. The president of USI, Ross Snyder, is here. The vice president, Michael Obergfell. Mike played a huge role in helping us save the bank of this entire river in the campground a handful of years ago. It was eroding away and we were about to lose campsites. And they did the engineering for this project and literally saved the campground. And so thank you. And then we have 2 more parts of this team. Dan Hines started out on the project as the project engineer watching over it. Thank you, Dan. And then turned it over to the capable hands of Scott Dick. And so they're both here as well. No.
No more littering.
Wow. That was almost catastrophic. Thank you, Joe. That's youth. Wow. Camden Construction. If you wonder how in the world you get a bridge disassembled from a location down in Washington County or over in Wayne County and move it all the way to Hamilton County in pieces and then wait for all the funding to come into place and all the engineering to get done and then actually rebuild the bridge. There is no better partner to have than the folks at Camden Construction. And we are blessed to have John Camden and Mary Beth Camden here with us today. Thank you guys so much. And these guys really are the wizards behind putting these bridges together. If you have a historic bridge, you want a partner like Camden involved in the project. Are Bernadine or Bruce here? Bernadine and yeah, you help. Bernadine Boggs and Bruce Welsh. It's just an amazing team. And actually 229 sat on their property for about 10 years, I think, after Wayne County 229. He actually, if you go visit his property in Pierceton, it's full of bridges. It's kind of like a bridge museum. And it's amazing, but that's where 229 sat for about 10 years. There's a lot of people. This next group is NDOT. There's one person here, Jim Ryleman. Jim, I can't thank you enough, man. I am telling you what, state employees and government employees get a bad rap sometimes. And some of these people don't deserve it. And Jim is a sparkling example of what it takes and how to be a great partner. He was the brunt of my first phone call after the bridge came in about $1.5 million over budget on the first bid, and I get emotional from time to time, and he found that out, and and literally, I think a couple times came in on days off and things like that just to work on this project and help us figure out how to get it back into budget and funded. And at one point I said, Jim, I don't know how we're going to do this. Can you go down the hall and ask somebody if we can get some more money? And he chuckled and said, yeah, I'll do that, Al. And called me back about 2 hours later and said, I really don't know how this happened, but I just got you more money. And got us another $1.5 million to be able to get this done. Our original estimate was about, the project started in '05, so that's about how old our original estimate was. And so when it goes to bid in 2015, your estimate may be a little off. And so he helped us go find that money. And I don't know what you had to do, Jim, but thank you. A lot of other people at NDOT played a big part of this. Scott Sipes was a project manager during construction. And none of these guys are here, but they all played a huge role, so I'm going to say their names. Scott and I have a funny connection because his brother and I actually played intramural football together at Purdue, and we figured that out because he looks a lot like his brother. Ann Rick, who's in charge of the bridge department at NDOT, went to bat for us a lot. Greg Klavitsky, Nathan Riggs, Kathy Eaton McCallum, George Snyder, Mary Kennedy, all those folks in the downtown office worked amazingly hard to help us get this project done. And then there's 3 people that I have to work with on a monthly basis for my billings and quarterly reports and all those kind of fun things that you have to do when you get $3 million worth of federal funding. And Cassandra Hudson, Kim Bowdell, and Sarah Sobieski just do an amazing job of fielding all those phone calls and helping make sure that all the paperwork is done right. And it really is an amazing team that they have put together at NDOT, and they really do help, and it's really great to have. So thank you, and please, Jim, take that information and those thanks back to the NDOT office for us. All right, Federal Highway, Aaron Fletcher played a big role in this as well, and she was not able to be here, but we will make sure that she is thanked also. Halverson Construction, is Steve Halverson here? I didn't see him earlier. No? Okay. They're the ones that finally helped us get this thing within budget. They kept sharpening their pencil, and at one point I think I called them and said, I know you're the only one bidding on this, but please don't act like you're the only one bidding on this. Keep sharpening your pencil. So Steve Halverson, David Sallow, Kyle Zellers, and Eric Borders, all with Halverson Construction, did this whole project. And a lot of those guys were here last night at 7 o'clock when we were here putting some finishing touches on this, and they were painting the ends of bolts and power washing the bridge and installing a lot of this matting that we have to get down to make sure that when the water comes up, the dirt doesn't run away. So they did a fantastic job. I'll talk about IUPUI and their role in this event in a little bit. And then Professor Jim Cooper is a partner of Jim Barker. I asked for partner in crime. Whenever Jim doesn't know something about a bridge, he goes to Jim Cooper. And Jim wrote an amazing book about the history of Potter's Bridge. If you have never seen it, come and get me, and I'll loan you my copy, but you have to promise to bring it back. And then there's this book that Jim gave me when we started this project that my staff knows is kind of like the Bible. Iron Monuments to Distant Posterity, Indiana's Metal Bridges, 1870 to 1930. All 3 of these bridges are in this book, and Jim brought this in to help kind of tell us how important these bridges were. And that book was written by Jim Cooper. And when we were thinking about how we were going to span over the island we got the first grant for for Washington County 113. Then we got the second grant for Wayne County 229, and then we realized that we needed a 35-foot bridge in the middle. And Jim went and identified Hamilton 21, which was an old bridge, and you'll hear more about it in a little bit from Jim. And he put Jim Cooper to work on this because this bridge was actually destroyed. It's totally recreated. The bridge behind me, the small piece in between the two big bridges, and so Jim Cooper actually went to the archives at Ball State University and found the original construction documents from 1890 for Hamilton County Bridge 21, and those original hand-drawn construction documents were dropped into our current construction document bidding book and plans, and that's what Halverson used to build Hamilton 21, the original construction documents. So cool. All right, that's our partners. Give them all a hand, please. This event, we started talking about it a couple of years ago. As soon as we knew this thing was going to happen, we said we got to have a big dedication. It's got to be a really good blowout and a really cool thing. And so, you know, my staff, hello, okay, maybe on, maybe not. We started talking about it, and my daughter happens to be in the IUPUI Tourism and Event Management program. And she said, you know, our senior class, 404, is actually a program that it's a class, and they break it up into groups, and we have to plan and put on an event. Like, well, that doesn't sound like a bad idea. You know, we certainly don't have a lot of staff running around with extra time, so we sat down and talked with Erica Schonkweiler at IUPUI, and one of the things that I think is amazing about IUPUI and their programs is that most of their professors are actually, you guys gotta go? Oh, they're gonna go the wrong way. If there's any staff members that might be able to go around and pick them up on the other end, that'd be really cool. So one of the things I love about IUPUI's programs is that a lot of their professors are actually practitioners. They're not just academia. They're in the mix of it. And Erica is one of those people. She's been involved in event management for over 30 years. And she's chosen to use part of her time to help teach. And so reached out to Erica, and she assigned this group: Cole Craney, Anya Alexander, Lindsay Romer, Faith Branch, Abby Ackerman, and Kate Patterson. And she said, Kate, are you sure you want to work with your dad? And Kate said, yeah, I think I do. And one of the reasons that she got into this is because she loves working at events, and it's kind of a family business. And so we started working with these guys, and everything that you've seen today is all their ideas. And I'm just totally blown away. And we really turned it over to them. They made a presentation, and we gave them a blessing, and they took off with it. And I think that it's going to be a really cool thing. And so thank you to IUPUI and that amazing team, and Erica. All right. One of the main pieces of this event, you see a lot of this wood rolling around here on tables and things. This wood, and each of you are going to leave with one of these. So as you're leaving, make sure that you go to the checkout booth over there, the rec room where everybody was earlier, and everybody, each family or each person will leave with a piece of this. And what this is a piece of this planking. We started seeing this go down, and this is ipe. It's Brazilian walnut. And I do have I do have a chain of custody for this wood. It was not wild harvested, it was commercial harvested. So, you know, us weird park people are concerned about things like that. So Steve Alverson said, yeah, I can get that paperwork. Anyway, it was a question. And engraved on this are the name of the event, the date, and the original hand sketch that Jim Barker handed me to show me what this project was going to look like when it was completed. And so we partnered with one of our past part-time employees, David Savage with Savcom, and they do laser engraving, and we cut the wood. Mike Rotabush did a lot of work on our staff cutting these pieces of wood, and David Savage laser engraved them. And so they're very cool, and they are literally a part of this project. Let's give David a hand. We're trying to figure out how to make this different and special, because that's kind of what Hamilton County Parks does. We don't just cut a ribbon. And so the team, the IUPUI team, pitched this idea of actually recreating a visual example of this bridge using all the members and all the parties involved in this project. And if all those folks that I talked to about coming up here and bringing a piece of the puzzle can kind of move back to the back and get ready to come forward, that'll be great. But I think that this is really going to be a cool part of this project, and a really great way to finish it off. It's not just a bridge, it's a connection. It connects two of our amazing park facilities and does it with these amazing historic bridges that are coming from all over the state of Indiana. And so the first thing that I would like to do, and the first piece that we're going to bring in to this visual display, is the piece representing White River Campground. Behind you, where you have been kind of enjoying the early festivities of this event, is our White River Campground. We have 100 campsites, and we're open from tax day to Halloween, basically, April 15th to October 31st. And Bruce Oldham and Chris Cage and their staff constantly, I'm always receiving notes from people that say they travel all over the country and stay in campgrounds all across the country, and this is the nicest campground that they stay in, both in its facilities and in its people. And so bringing the first piece of the puzzle down here are going to be Chris Cage, Park Board President Terry Prather, and Park Board Vice President Larry Rotabush. Go ahead and set it, and then you can go back and sit down. It'll be a little while. Jim hasn't even started talking yet. Thank you, guys. The second piece of this project that made it come to be was Strawtown Koteewi Park. The county acquired Strawtown Koteewi Park. It took a lot of thought. It took a lot of work by the county. It wasn't a lot of convincing. I think the council and everybody knew that we were probably never going to get another chance to acquire 750 contiguous acres in Hamilton County ever again at the bargain price of $5,000 an acre. And so, but it was a lot of work, and it's a big piece of land. And so, and as I said, the master planning process for that park is what created the idea for this bridge. So bringing down the piece for Strawtown Koteewi Park, it's 810 acres now. We've acquired another 60, over 9 miles of hiking, biking, and equestrian trails. We have a pond, a lake, a 19-acre lake that we're going to be opening in the spring. We have a world-class archery facility. We have an aerial adventure park. We are getting ready to, in the spring, open an equestrian facility. And this winter we'll be opening a tubing facility. It's just an amazing asset to our community. And we're also home to the Taylor Center of Natural History, and Christy Brockman and her staff do an amazing job of telling our community about what was happening years ago on this property. So bringing down the piece representing Strawtown Koteewi Park, our Bruce Odom, our Regional Parks Operations Manager for Hamilton County Parks, and County Council members Brad Beaver and Steve Schwartz. I picked these guys because they've been around, I think, the longest, and have had to listen to all my presentations about this project forever and ever. So thank you guys. Do you want to say a few words? No? Okay.
Thank you, Al.
You're very welcome. All right. Now I'm going to introduce Jim Barker because he's the only one that can properly tell you about these three bridges. Jim, come on up. He's going to start by telling you about Washington County Bridge 113. I told him he had to give us the Reader's Digest condensed version. He promised he would.
Who has the shepherd's hook to pull me off?
There's water all around, John.
Okay. This project is sort of a bridge sampler with very different component parts. Mary Kennedy told me she'd prefer that they be all of one nature. And I said, we can't find three bridges of all one nature. So eventually it was decided that we would embrace the difference. And Bridge 113 from Washington County is indeed a rare bird. It's the only one of its type in the state that's left, and never was built in great profusion. So it's a really special bridge, and that's a nice way of saying it wasn't a successful design. It's a triple intersection lattice. That is, there's the webbing between the top chord and the bottom chord consists of three independent systems. If you trace the diagonals, there's three different systems, and that's rarely used in wagon bridges. And when this was built, it was a wagon bridge, not a car bridge, because automobiles were not yet invented. Its nature, oddly, comes from geography of the continent, specifically Lake Michigan. Lake Michigan forced all the railroads in the northern part of this country to head south past and through Chicago. Well, a Chicago company was hired to fabricate this bridge. And they had been doing a lot of railroad work because of their location. And this bridge, while not very efficient for wagons, the weight of a UPS truck traveling 10 miles an hour, this type of bridge had a big advantage for railroads. Often, you've driven over bridges and there's always a bump at the end of the bridge. Well, there was the same thing for railroads, and they'd occasionally have derailments. It was rarely the locomotives, but more commonly empty boxcars. And if a boxcar came off the rail line in the bridge and plowed into the side, the thought and to some extent the action was that it might wipe out one of the three web systems, but the other two would keep the bridge up. A different bridge, such as Wayne 229, you take out a vertical and the bridge is likely to come down. So the railroads favored the redundancy of this triple intersection lattice. And the company that built it just used it for this and several other highway or wagon bridges. This span started the project because when one of my employees brought back a picture of it, I couldn't tell what was going on. Trusses are supposed to have verticals and panels and individual diagonals, and this one, when viewed from a 45-degree angle, looks like a pile of giant pickup sticks, and I couldn't tell what was going where. So I called Jim Cooper. He said, "Oh, that's the only one in the state. This is a really unique, rare animal. If you can save it, save it." And I had known that Al needed a bridge across here, and I could, a 150-foot span wouldn't get all the way across, but it would get from the campground to this island. So Mr. Barker went looking for 2 more spans, but we made it. This is also rare in that it's probably the first riveted bridge in the state. The major connections on this bridge are riveted, even though it was built in 1898. That's odd, but it's the way it was. Another oddity of this bridge is the crash bar. You see the horizontal member halfway up the end post? That was a railroad detail, so that if the boxcar smashed into the end, the important end post would be braced enough that it would stay. You hardly need that for a wagon traveling 10 miles an hour. So this is railroad technology that's been reused. And the story of the plaques on these 2 spans is interesting. And this one, because the plaque isn't there. And I wish it was, because it's a gorgeous plaque. And I harangued the Washington County auditor earlier today to find the miscreants that appropriated it and loan it back to me. But there are holes, or were, in the cross member up there, proving that it had a plaque. And eventually we determined that it was built by a builder in Chicago, and it was a small company in 1898, and that this structure consumed much of the employees of the company. That wouldn't be the case now because the company has 40,000 employees. And I looked at their website, and the last report said their work backlog is $30,000 million. 30 billion. And the company was Chicago Bridge and Iron Company. They started out making bridges, but morphed into water towers, and now, most important, petroleum refineries. And the joke about Chicago Bridge and Iron is that, of course, steel replaced iron, that they're not located in Chicago, they don't build bridges, and they don't use iron. But other than that, it's the same company. I hope Randall, that you can find a plaque that we can use to make copies for this band, because they're gorgeous plaques. That's 1/3 of it.
All right.
Okay, I warned you. So, presenting the plaque for Washington County 113 is Randall Bills, Auditor of Washington County. Thank you very much. Would you like to say a few words? All right. He also gets the award for coming the longest distance.
Well, thank you. We're quite honored that you were able to take this bridge and reconstruct it here, renovate it, and have it over another river for use. Has a wonderful history, you heard, and we're there again. Our county is quite honored that you could do that and have it now where it can live on upon the river here in Hamilton County. Thank you.
Yeah, thanks. All right. So the next piece is Wayne County Bridge 229. Jim? It's a little bit shorter bridge, so the presentation, okay.
I'll make it. In contrast to Washington 113, Wayne 229 in the distance there is a much simpler bridge. It's common and elegant in its simplicity. It was pin connected rather than having the parts riveted. It went together almost like an erector set. The major members had loops on the end, and you slid big. You can see the pins that are there connecting, and it was fabricated in Indianapolis, not very far away, and shipped on rail. It would take a bridge like that might take one and a half rail cars. It really was small, but then it was put up with the pins and did the job in Wayne County for just over a century. The plaque on Wayne 229 contains an interesting quirk that always makes me smile. At the bottom of it, it lists the builder and where the builder is. And the builder is the Newcastle Bridge Company in Indianapolis, Indiana. So what's going on here? Well, the Newcastle Bridge Company started in Newcastle and found that they were closer to transportation, had a bigger labor pool, and moved the company to Indianapolis. And after several years of being the Newcastle Bridge Company of Indianapolis, they realized there was a problem, especially since they sold bridges throughout the Midwest, Iowa, Michigan, Ohio, Illinois, and they didn't want Indiana on their
Partner in crime.
plaque twice, so they changed their name to the Central States Bridge Company and continued in work in business until the 1940s. But it's a very simple and common bridge, so common it's called the American Standard Bridge Style plaque truss. And this is a rare, almost kind of oddity, but a really special bridge. So that it is a comparative bridge anatomy lesson as you walk across.
Wow, I was just kidding. All right, thank you. Bringing down the plaque and presenting the plaque and the piece of wood for Wayne County 229 is Wayne County Commissioner Denny Burns and Wayne County Engineer Bob Wagner. Warner, I'm sorry. Would you guys like to say a word? No. Thank you, and thank you so much for being here. As I said, we realized that we had a gap in the middle, a 35-foot gap, and Jim went to work and found something that was special to our community and our county. And so, Jim, you want to come back up and tell us about Hamilton County 21? It's a lot smaller.
Thank you, Al. Now, there was only one kind of bridge that was invented and patented by a Hoosier that was actually built in profusion. And the last, or one of the last, of this style of bridge was here in Hamilton County, Bridge 21. But it was removed in, when? 1980s? 1990s. So it no longer existed. The Hamilton 21 span had been built in 1890 and served until the 1990s. And there was about 35 or 40 feet needed across the island. And oddly, Hamilton 21 was 40-footer. And Al and I started thinking, we can do something. I called up Jim Cooper, and he knew that the Indiana Bridge Company, which built Hamilton 21, gave its archives to the Ball State School of Architecture. He called up a fellow there. That guy called back in a week and said, I found the plans for Hamilton 21, the original 1890 plans. And then I got thinking, wouldn't it be nice just to build Hamilton 21 using the original plans? Would NDOT accept that? Thank goodness, Jim, you guys did. Now like NDOT gets bad static whenever anything goes wrong, but in this case, they let us use the 1890 plans in the 1915 federal aid project, which was way cool. And what it meant was it's an exact duplicate, and it's not a new bridge, it's the last of the production run from Indiana Bridge in Muncie, Indiana. And real quick here, it's a 40-footer. What kind of bridge is it? It's a rigid frame bridge. And I'm going to put my mic down and yell at you a little bit here. But what this bridge style is that you don't see unless you go around underneath is that to save the cost of the stone abutments, they used vertical steel piles and the steel piles connected to the beam. But that whole system makes the beam brace the top of the piles and the piles support the beam. This works out good, but you can make it even more efficient with less steel and smaller beams if you make the connections between the beam and the columns rigid. I was going to do this and this, and you put in knee braces right there. And so they put in knee braces and made the girder deeper at the ends, but it's really just a knee brace where everything braces each other. And that was Solomon Godman's patent, and he sold it to the Indiana Bridge Company in Muncie, and that's why this is the only example in use of an Indiana bridge patent that's still carrying traffic.
Jim, thank you so much. I never could have done that. Bringing down the final piece and making the connection between White River Campground and Strawtown Koteewi Park are Hamilton County Commissioners Mark Hairbrandt and Christine Altman.
Touch them together. There we go.
Thank you.
I would like to take just a moment to acknowledge how special our Parks Board and our Parks staff are to be so patient and have such forward thinking to make Hamilton County a true place-making place. And these are the facilities that distinguish Hamilton County from other places. and make a big difference to not only our quality of life, but our marketability as a community and a county. It did look like a gigantic erector set when I looked at it at first, but it's such an interesting connection between the two banks, and it frames beautifully what I consider Hamilton County's greatest asset, which is the river, which is just a wonderful recreation facility, and it binds all of our communities together. And thank you, Al, and thank you, Parks Board, and thank you to the moneymakers that made this possible, and the cooperation that it took to take this from a concept to a reality.
We're almost done. I had told Jim Rahman and Sanjay Patel and Ross and the folks from USI that I would give them an opportunity to say a few words if they wished to speak. And so I know Jim had prepared a couple things. Jim, would you like to make any statements on behalf of NDOT?
Jim Rahman. This guy deserves a big hand.
Thank you, everyone. Just look at this. This is amazing. I couldn't, looking at the plans, and a lot of times that's some of the savvy, I guess, of being an engineer. You try to envision what's on paper in 2 dimensions, what it looks like in 3 dimensions, and this has exceeded every expectation I could think of. Back a few years ago when I took this project over, and I was like, okay, it's going to be a path, and I could never imagine it would look this great. So, thanks to Don and Jim there, you guys did a fantastic job getting it here. To Scott and Dan to performing the construction engineering and inspection to get it here, as well as Howerson and the various other subcontractors that worked on it. It took a team effort to get here, and I think it looks phenomenal. But a special thank you to Al. Without his help and dedication, whenever I needed something, Al was quick to respond, quick to get answers. He really kept things moving. Al was fantastic to work with. So I think Al and the Parks Department and Hamilton County folks, enjoy your bridge.
Thank you, Jim. Sanjay?
Thank you, Al. I just wanted to take a quick moment to, one, thank and congratulate Jim Barker. This vision started with Barker Engineering 20 years ago or more. But more importantly, the passion and the commitment and dedication from the Hamilton County Parks Department, the Hamilton County Commissioners, Washington County and Wayne County Commissioners. So thank you for this wonderful project. I'm very proud of the team effort, including NDOT. And Jim, once again, congratulations on your vision for this bridge. Thank you.
USI? Ross, do you want to say something? We're just full of connections up here. Ross and I actually had a common friend back at Purdue, and so we kind of got reunited in this project. So here you go, Ross.
We sure did. It was great. I just want to take a moment, echo what Sanjay said about what a success this project is. And I just want to thank all the members of the project team for doing a great job, and especially my longtime friend Al and his dedication and hard work on this project and everything else for the Parks Department. And USI was just happy to be a part of the project team. Thank you, Al.
The two final thank yous. There's a group of people kind of gathering back there at the back of the bridge. They're all staff members of Hamilton County Park and Recreation Department, and I would like for them all to come forward. Every one of these people have played a part in this project. Come on, guys. Chris Stice, Deputy Director. Amanda Smith, Superintendent of Natural Resources and Education. Dan Papiella, Naturalist. Christy Brocken, Historic Resource Specialist, Christopher Gallion, our Event Specialist, Carrie Jones, our Administrative Technical Coordinator, Steve Sneath, our Volunteer Coordinator, Catherine works here at the Park Department at Strawtown Koteewi and White River Campground, has been with us for several years now as a part-time employee. Bruce Oldham is standing back there in the back. You can't stand back there in the back, Bruce, I'm sorry. Elisa Cox is back there filming. Everybody turn and wave at Elisa. She's got the phone in her hand. Kyle Stocks is, where's Kyle? He had to leave. Chris Cage, you met earlier from the campground. Don Nichols is shuttling people around in golf carts. Steve Shue and Bob Sutton are around here someplace. I think they're driving by in the truck maybe. I can't even begin to tell you what an honor it is to work beside these people every day. They are what makes this department an absolutely amazing department. We've built this department out of great people, and they say that good people surround themselves with better people, and this is the better people, folks. These are amazing people. So please give them a round of applause. And then I normally, there's a couple other people back there. We got Hamilton County Tourism, Brenda Myers and Sarah Buckner. Holy cow. These guys, again, kind of like the auditor's office, we come to them with all kinds of crazy requests for helping us with promotions and marketing and getting the word out about all kinds of things, and they are always right there with us, and an amazing partner for us. And so, Brenda, please take back our sincere thank you to the staff at Hamilton County Tourism. Everybody give Brenda Myers and Sarah Buckner a huge hand. Our 7th Park Board member, Jan DeJarnette, just walked up, and so we are complete now. Jan is not just represented by her husband, she is here. And then the last person that I would like to recognize, I often forget to recognize, and that is my wife. Laura Patterson back there in the back. When I say that it's a family effort, all of us have all of our family members at most of these events, and people often ask her what she does for the park department, and her response is, "I'm married to it." So thank you, Laura. I love you. All right. Everybody, thank you so much for being here. Thank you for taking part in this amazing program. Thank you, IUPUI, Erica Schonkwaller, and the 404 class for putting this together. I think it was a beautiful ceremony and a great idea. Everybody, enjoy your bridge. And I think My Yellow Rickshaw and all the fun stuff is going to start in about an hour or so. So if you can stick around, great. If you can, thanks for coming. All those dignitaries, please, if you have a chance, stick around for photos. I'm sure that Byron said us. Byron, where is Byron? Byron is hiding back there. Byron Settles with the planning department. I gave him a call. He's always called upon by the county to take pictures and does an amazing job. And so I asked him and asked his boss if I could borrow him for the afternoon. And thank you, Byron, for being here and grabbing photos for us. So enjoy the bridge. Thank you all for coming. Anybody that wants to get their picture taken with this, anybody that was a part of this project, team photos, whatever, we're free to do that now. Enjoy the bridge. Thank you all for coming and being patient.